No worries, brother. I'm not even.
And good evening once again, fans. You're listening to the Deathmatch Colossal podcast. They're more than welcome to come on too anytime they want to come on.
Oh man, those girls pop good like.
All right, it's a budget thing. Let's hear what he's up to.
Thank you, man, and thank you for giving me the time.
Tune in right now. And good evening, everybody. You're listening to another episode of the Deathmatch Colossal podcast. My guest at this time, the one and only Colossal Mike Law. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm enjoying my time away, and just training. I'm back. Back in the game. My head is right. I think, this whole situation with this pandemic has really kind of made myself appreciate the time I've spent away from the ring and let my body heal up, and I'm feeling great, man. Can't complain.
Yeah, that's the way to be, just focused and, just train and just keep fit,
Right.
So
I mean, I'm looking as red as a tomato out here.
What?
I'm looking as red as a tomato out here, bro. Like I've
yeah.
When I got a little burnt up today.
Yeah. I got that Jersey redneck tan. What are you going to do? I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I haven't hit the beach all summer, but whatever.
Absolutely.
I'm not a beach goer like I used to be. I got a pool.
No, I hate that. Yeah, you know what? This day I would prefer the pool over the beach. Getting all that sand, dude. You never end up getting all of it. It like days later, you get sand coming out of areas that you didn't know existed, and you're just like, it's a great idea initially, but once it's over, it's like you instantly regret it as soon as you get back in the car. You have all that sand on you.
Yeah, and then you got to vacuum it out, and it's a pain in the ass. Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, man, it's like. Geez, I think it's like 30 weeks, almost 30 days away, almost 30 days and counting. I think Stan posted, till these Bonanza 6, intergender Bonanza 6.
Man. I mean, I give him credit, man. Like, I think right now it's a tough time for anybody to know when the time is right to pull the trigger. So, my advice really was initially when this thing happened was let some of the big boys do the work, see how it goes, and then let it trickle down from there. But I do see that a lot of the smaller companies are just taking the bull by the horns, and they're doing their thing.
Yep, they're doing the precautions, wiping down the rings, and and which is good, and everybody's keeping their distance, and
I'm okay with that. Holy shit, am I okay with that? Dude, 6 feet is perfectly fine. I don't like to be around people like that anyway.
So what is it like when you're at the airport?
Fine.
Let me ask you this: what was it like going to the airport?
Newark Airport is probably my least favorite airport to travel out of. It's a fucking mess. It's a zoo. You know what I mean? And I mean, there was just total disorder. Like 2 fights almost broke out. And it's like.
I know how it is.
It makes you understand why it's at least not my favorite. But I would say that once I got to Tampa, dude, empty. I mean, completely. It was, and all the precautions being taken. Like I'm a very cleanly person, man, and I wear my mask. Obviously I'm not doing it now because there's no one here, and I'm doing this podcast. But a sanitizer, just keeping myself, keeping clean. I mean, it's just something that we should all be doing anyway. But I will say, once we got to Tampa, there was nobody. It was like a ghost town.
Wow. I went down to went down to Dunkin' Donuts over by the industrial park over near Lakewood, and there were people not wearing masks at all going to the DMV.
Yeah. I think it's at this point,
and you know what? And it's typical, and it's all the other. I don't want to say the names, but we know what Lakewood's known for.
Yeah, I think ultimately, man, it has to boil down to like people, as in anything else, we have to work together and realize, hey, if this is going to be something that's going to help curb this thing long term, I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with wearing the mask in a public place in a situation where there's a lot of people. What you do at home or within your surroundings, that's your business. But I think, for the most part, if people are just asking or establishments are asking me to do that, then look, let's just stick to the game plan. Let's see how this thing goes. And, it might, I get where some people are coming from with on both ends. But that's me being an adult. I can understand that
Yeah.
people have different perspectives, and I can appreciate that people have that. As long as to me it's not like coming from a point of like hatred or racism or
No.
or homo, anything along those lines. I can always respect people's perspective because I don't know. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
it's something that somebody with some logic would have.
Hmm.
With that thought, that forethought.
Hmm.
But yeah, wear the mask for the most part. I don't see a problem. It's great to do cardio in. I did find that wearing a mask and doing cardio it helps.
Huh. I'll try that. I'm a garbage man, so
Oh shit, yeah,
but I've been on a
dude.
30-day furlough. I took a furlough for 30 days. I'm back to work in a couple
Okay.
weeks.
Hey man, listen, and I want to shout out to all the essential workers out there, man. Like seriously, you guys, everyone who's out there working right now deserves utmost respect, man. And I try to put up, to me, I always try to show my appreciation because
Yeah.
I can't stand when, I go somewhere and someone's giving an attitude to somebody at a restaurant or a drive-through or something like that. I go, it takes a lot for me not to take you out of your car and knock the shit out of you for being, like to me, man, like you gotta realize these people are putting a lot on the line for the sake
Yeah.
of making sure that you're gonna be fed or you're gonna be taken care of in some sort of service. Like respect that, what I mean? Have a little more patience. I get it. Like it's not a great time right now for people, you know what I
No.
mean? But try not to go out of your way to be a douchebag to people who are in this service industry, who are essential workers. You know what I mean? Like we need
Yeah.
them as much as anything right now.
Hmm.
But that's just my perspective.
Sure. Sure. But so yeah, this event's coming up pretty quick. I can't wait.
Yeah, August 22nd.
Don't make the barbell hit you again.
Oh yeah, we made amends. That shit. I'll tell you, like when that happened.
Yeah, you didn't realize.
Gosh, dude, I literally didn't know what hit me. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't like it knocked me out.
But
I've only been knocked out once in my entire life.
yeah.
But it did hit me like out of nowhere, and I was like I didn't know how it happened, who did it, what happened. You know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah.
and I remember I think it was Ref Papa Giorgio who said that in a million years that shit would never have happened. Like
Mhm.
it just flung over, and if anyone was there to see it, saw
Yeah.
how insane it was. Like it literally, the barbell, my barbell,
Yeah.
flew over the top with me, and it flung, and the point of it hit me on the top of my head, and it left a scar, but whatever.
Whatever.
Um, but it was, shit, it happens, man. I'm not. Of course I was pissed. I got eliminated, and then on top
Mm.
of that, like, I got a barbell placed on top of my head. So yeah, I wasn't gonna be happy about it. People are like, like I threw a fit. Of course, like I didn't win. Why wouldn't I throw a fit?
Mhm. But you're in a
A fatal five way.
fatal 5-way.
What's so fatal about it? Is someone gonna die? Like, why
Good
do we
part.
call it fatal five way? Like, why would like? Is
Yeah.
anyone actually gonna die in one of these things one day? Maybe I'll die.
No, don't say it. I don't know. But you're going in against some good competitors. Good competition.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I made a vow to myself to just not to be like I was funny. I was talking to other veterans about it, and it's one of those things where, man, I've been way too nice to people in and out of the business, and I feel like that needs to come to an end because, it can only get you so far in the wrestling industry. People don't. You have to forcefully take things. You have to be selfish, and I think going forward, that's just got to be my attitude, man. Like I don't give a fuck who's across the ring for me anymore. I don't. To me, the competition is to let everyone know that I am better than them and that they can't hold a candle to my work, man. Like I truly believe that I'm one of the best out there, and I've been underutilized, underrated for so fucking long that it actually sickens me sometimes. You know what I mean? Because people are like, oh well, why aren't you on TV or why aren't you well, why don't you call Vince McMahon and give him a call for me? Why don't you? It's not like I'm not trying or I have been trying for the last few years, but I feel that in all fairness, I've held back. That I'm going to take accountability because unfortunately, a lot of people this day and age want to blame everybody for the fact that they're either too lazy to get to the top or aren't really good at this. But I'm going to take accountability and know that I've slacked off on my end, and that's the reason where I'm not where I need to be. And it starts on August 22nd. And I don't, with all due respect with everyone in there, I've known Drew Blood for a long time.
Yeah, Drew's been been a vet. I mean, he's a vet in the biz, He's been there for,
Xavier Cross, Raylan, and Zoe, who I think Zoe is fantastic. You know what I mean? I'm not taking anything away from them as competitors, but
no,
it's like that day and age of just being a nice guy, man. That shit is over, dude. I truly can't wait to go in there reinvigorated and just showcase how fucking good I am. It's my time. You know what I mean? This is the mentality I needed to have a long time ago, and unfortunately, I've second guessed myself again, taking accountability. Not like a lot of these people today, who want to blame everybody and their mother for the fact that they either don't have the willpower, don't have the work rate, they don't have the ganas, as we like to say in Spanish, the will to get continue. It's always laughable to me when people have been doing this 3 or 4 years already burnt out. Motherfucker, I've been doing this for 17 years. You know what I mean? And I'll stop whenever I want to stop. Not when someone else puts me out, or not when it'll stop whenever I want to stop. And I haven't decided I want to stop. In fact, I want to keep going even further. So that's why I'm motivated. And that's the thing. I'm more motivated than I feel than any of those people in that match. You know what I mean? That's the difference. They all may be good at their certain perspective of certain things in the business that we do. But overall, I don't believe any one of them are as driven as I am. I don't believe any one of them, for a fact, has had to overcome the hurdles that I've had to overcome. And you know what I mean? I'm hungrier than I've ever been, man. And I want them to know, if they're listening to this podcast, that I'm coming for mine, and I don't give a fuck about anybody else anymore. I've been too nice, man, and I'm sorry. That's just, it only gets you so far in this business, and I'm done. I'm done with that. You know what I mean? I owe it to myself because I've busted my ass for 17 years. You know what I mean? I've put up my wrestling rings. I've put up chairs. I've taken down wrestling rings. I've, chauffeured people. I've promoted events. I've been a booker. I've been a promoter. You know what I mean? I've done the flyers. You know what I'm saying? And I know this sounds like a promo, but I could care less if it sounds whatever, but I'm just being straight up. I think, honestly, I've been so underutilized and underappreciated for so long. And to me, it's now more than ever, I need to just keep in my head that it's about me, nobody else. You know what I mean? And that's the way it has to be, man.
Gotta just make moves, keep on going. Just make those moves,
Right.
So who trained you, Mike? If I ask you, may I ask?
Well, I was trained by Carlos Eagle Morales. He's not really well known. Good guy, good trainer, you know what I mean? And then I was trained by a guy named Lathan Tower Torture as well. And I did train a little bit under Low Life Louis Ramos, who many people know from his death matches, hardcore wrestling. You would think oh wow, you trained me when I'm more of a technical guy, but
Louis been in the business a long time. I know that because he, Jersey All Pro and many other promotions that he,
Yeah, so I trained at the place called Arena, Puerto Rico, originally Flatbush, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And then eventually I migrated to a place called the Doghouse in Queens, which was, it's infamous for
Yeah.
many reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I started.
Mm. What was your first match going as a fan? Going to see
Shit.
wrestling.
So I say 1986.
Yeah.
I'm dating myself here. Probably 1986, 1987. That was MSG. The first match I recall, and I say this a lot, was Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage inside of that big ass blue cage that they had back in the day that seemed like death. Uh, that was the first time I had ever gone to a live WWF event, WWE now, of course. A fight almost broke out with my uncle and a bunch of other dudes that was sitting in front of us because my uncle had those air horns. I mean, I'm sure they still have them, but like,
Yeah.
he had one of them air horns and he wouldn't quit. He was drunk and he wouldn't quit like honking the goddamn thing. And then these guys turned around and they pretty much said they would shove the the air horn up his ass if he didn't quit it. And he just kept doing it, man. And they turned around and a fight almost broke out. Meanwhile, I'm trying to watch the actual matches, and a fight almost broke out.
Distraction. Yeah,
I'm there with
distraction because of that.
Right. But yeah, that was it. That was my first memory, and after that, I was like, I gotta be, like people. I became a huge Hulkamaniac. I love Hulk Hogan, but that match was Steamboat versus Randy Savage. When I first saw that in the cage, was my like introduction to pro wrestling, and like how I wanted to get into it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Ricky is an inspiration. Ricky is one of those guys to look up to too. Think about it. Like really, he's been.
Yeah, I mean, both those guys, man.
Yeah.
It's like I think about it now. Like I don't know. Like I think Ricky would do well in any era. I don't. Maybe Randy too. But I just think it's just like it's a different stage of wrestling, as a whole. And I think it needs to kind of. There's certain things about pro wrestling that I feel need to revert back to some of the the things that we grew up watching and learning. I started training to be a pro wrestler when I was 15 years old. You know what I mean? I was 110 pounds, and I trained with like legitimate like heavyweights. They weren't guys like my size or I guess skinnier than me at that point. You know what I mean? Like there weren't people training to be pro wrestlers that weren't in the late 90s that weren't jacked up on those types of anabolics that were 6 feet, 6.5 feet tall, like 300 pounds, that were either fat and sloppy or were jacked on the gills that would just try to like, take advantage of me in the ring, and that meant like having to, occasionally come to blows legitimately, and I'm not going to sit here and bitch and whine about it. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I won every one of my fights. But that's the way it was, man. And I feel like that's the way I need to be going forward. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to, the way I had to fight and scrap when I started training in the doghouse and in arena is the way I need to start being, because I feel like a lot of people have had it way too easy. You know what I mean? Like, like at the end of the day, I'm still a professional. No one can ever deny that. I'm still professional. I'm still going to be respectful. But just know that if we're in the ring together and you're not ready to go at it, I'm going to eat you alive. And I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry. And sorry about the language. I don't normally curse a lot, but
you know what?
It's hot as hell, and I got an energy drink in me.
Hey, you know what? It's uncensored.
I didn't even ask.
Death is uncensored, so I don't care. No censoring on my podcast.
Okay.
I don't give a fuck.
There you go. All right, I appreciate that. I didn't even ask you ahead of time. My bad, dude.
No,
I normally ask, hey, what are like the language barriers?
No, that's it.
I don't have to necessarily curse to get my point across, but it does emphasize everything a little more when I curse.
Right. So that match is coming up. It's gonna be a good show altogether, Mike. It's gonna be good. Like all the matches, looks pretty.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, man. I think Stan does a really good job of presenting and entertaining. Like, there's different genres of pro wrestling as there is different genres of movies, and I think Stan does a really good job of presenting an entertaining event that has a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? Like, you'll have a lot of fun matches. I don't think
Yeah.
Like Ring of Honor has its way of doing business. Game Changer has its way of doing business. Impact has its way. All Elite, everyone has their different ways of portraying how this business should be and how they use their platform. To me, like Stan does, this is his way of doing it, man. He does this intergender thing, and I hope it continues to flourish. Despite the pandemic, and I think all things considered, people who come to the shows are going to have a great time, and that's what it's all about. For his crowd, his demographic.
Mm-hmm. I know, and it's and yeah, we see all this stuff on the internet about sexual harassment and this and that, Twitter, this and that. It's time, we're fans. People watch wrestling. Come on, don't be stupid and make moves that are, you've seen that. It's crazy. This craziness in the world,
A lot of it. Yep, I have to agree. A lot of craziness.
I mean, I was like, when I first heard about it, I'm like, holy shit, David Starr, come on, really? There's a guy that made a name for himself, and then he screwed himself. Whatever.
Yeah.
A bunch of other people. Huh? Yeah. But Mike, you got anything else for me? We could call it a night. I'm done.
Oh, hey, man, I'm good to go. August 22nd. Like I said, man, I'm coming to get mines, and I really don't care about anybody else at this point, man. And it's not me. This is me straight up being as honest as I can possibly be. I've given way too many opportunities to people that didn't deserve it, and I'm just taking what's mine, man. And I don't care anymore. Like if you're a promoter and you're not going to book me anyway, then so be it, man. It's like I'm not losing sleep anymore. I'm just going to do what's best for my business and what's best for me. And it starts on August 22nd, man. Like, not take anyone's shit. And if you want to support me, by all means, man. Go to my Pro Wrestling Tees store, or go to my storefrontier.com site. Just type in Colossal. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, of course, at the Colossal Mike Law. But other than that, man, I'm looking forward to, just killing it. Keep going in.
Yeah, follow him.
No matter what anyone happens, I'll go out there and I'll kill it. You know what I mean? That's just me.
Mm-hmm. Mike, we'll do this again after the show. How's that? We'll do a wrap up.
Sounds good, man. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Enjoy a little vacation.
All right. Thanks, brother.
All right. Bye. Fans, that was awesome. Nope, I could take this down in a minute. That was a nice conversation with Mike Law, Colossal Mike Law. He's going to be in a 5-person intergender match with everyone for themselves. I guess it's going to be a good match at the Sizzling Stan Styles but Intergender Bonanza 6, August 22nd. I should actually just, fans. Give me 1 second, fans. You know what? I should be putting this up here so people can see what's going on. Bear with me. 1 second. I will show a little graphic. How's that? And I got a lot of guests lined up for this as well. So, fans, just tune in. Bear with me 1 second, fans.
You can find more Deathmatch Russell podcasts on the following social media: deathmatchrussell.com, follow on Twitter at DavidNJ32, and on Facebook, facebook.com/DJDaveNJ32.
Instagram at DavidNJ36.
Hey, wrestling fans, I want to mention Collar and Elbow. Collar and Elbow was founded on traditional values of professional wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product intended to connect with people on an emotional level. A symbiotic relationship where one cannot flourish without the other. We strive to create a product that embodies our passion for professional wrestling expressed through street fashion. Visit collarandelbowbrand.com and use the promo code Deathmatch Russell Podcast and save 10% off when you make a purchase. Collar and Elbow, where wrestling passion meets street fashion. Me on Podcast City Network at podcastcity.net, facebook.com/Podcast City Network. Hit the like button and share. And on Twitter at Podcast City Net. You can hear Deathmatch Russell Podcast on Stitcher Radio and on iTunes.